So to take us through this journey over the next 25 minutes, there I'm going to take you through 5 rules. So that's my view on how 5 rules for how we achieve a customer-centric view. I'll test you at the end about what they are. But the first thing I'd like to sort of bring out is what do we mean by customer centricity. So you've probably heard Alex this morning talking a lot about digital transformation, digital disruption, and digital transformation, from my perspective, means many things to many different people. It's a very personal view about what it actually means. So I've got this view for what we mean by customer centricity. So it's a way of doing business with your customer in a way that provides a positive customer experience before and after the sale, in order to drive repeat business, customer loyalty, and profits. Okay, so I've highlighted a couple of key words around this. Customer experience being the key one, is that to gain that relationship, it needs to be very personal. It needs to be very specific to the individual in which you're engaging to. It's pointless in sending out a scattergun approach that's meaningless or not contextual or relevant to a certain individual. It needs to be very intuitive and easy to do business with. Not only before the transaction, the sales transaction, but also after, in customer services and those sorts of things. It needs to be continuous as you go through your customer relationship. So with happy customers, you should be able to be driving repeat business. They'll come back to you for more work, more business, which will achieve customer loyalty, which will then become advocates, and they'll be bringing across more customers to you to drive more repeat business and profits. So we all know that the customer is now very much in control. This isn't new news. So everybody is all on mobile devices. They're always online. They're talking to each other as well. But understanding what they're saying and doing is quite an important part of the process to understand how you can engage them in a meaningful way. They're talking to each other, talking to their friends, and those sorts of things about you as an organisation or a business, and also to each other as well. Which brings me on to the first rule for achieving customer centricity is listen. Really listen. My wife will say I'm particularly poor at listening. But because of this disparate list of unstructured and structured data sources prevalent in the internet, is making sense of all this data is absolutely essential. Bringing about these silos of data into one complete picture of a customer profile and record, be it on Facebook, Twitter, whatever it might be, is the first part of the journey to achieving customer centricity. So making sense of all this data. So the wealth and the visibility of data is going to explode as well. So there's some 2 innovations that are coming around. So the autonomous vehicle. So the reason I'm talking about this is because it's going to give people more ability to be online while they're not actually driving a vehicle at all. So there's some trials out in North America earlier this year where they're trialling out autonomous vehicles around San Francisco. Actually failed 6 traffic lights. So it's not quite there, but it will evolve and mature. The point being here is that the people are spending more time sharing data and being online, shopping, or whatever it might be, because they're not actually driving the vehicle. And of course, we have the emergence of RPA, robotics, so taking away some of the manual processes, repeatable process steps that happen in the work environment as well. So the increasing divergence of technology is also having an impact on people's ability to be spending more time online as well. So when we've listened, it's long rule number 1, listening, we can then make sense of that information, profile it, and understand your customers, engage with them in a different way. So if you think about it, the excited family going to Disneyland through the airport has a very different experience with a single businessman or woman going to the airport pretty upset and fed up when it's 7 in the morning because the flight's delayed. Very different levels of engagement and needs and wants. You're likely to want to understand the excited family going to Disney because you want to increase their shopping experience, because they're more likely to sort of spend on whatever it might be in retail outfits. Very different to the single business person who probably wants to be rewarded with some sort of coffee or whatever it might be because his plane might be delayed because there's fog in Scotland, whatever it might be. So understanding all this information is very key because then you can engage in much more on a personal basis. So this quote is an old quote from Steve Jobs, but I think it's still very relevant now. We're all very excited about what technology can do, what it can bring to us, but I really feel that the customer experience is where we should start and then work outwards for how the technology can then deliver it afterwards. Still very relevant quote. It's something in the early 90s, support by Steve Jobs. So listening also commands a different way in which we deliver innovation and agility as well. So the way that we're working with clients now is much more a minimal viable product approach. So we start with some rudimentary capability from the Birdman approach through to more advanced stages of flights, as you can see, through to the rocket ship. Is deploying something that works in a meaningful way, initially and early in an agile way, progressively build complexity, scale, and depth, breadth, sophistication as you move through. This is what we're seeing in the market, agility, because the market is moving so quickly, is deploying capability quickly and at pace. In our experience also, we're also adopting a slightly different way to engage with our clients. We call it design thinking. It's very much a human-centered way of designing solutions and systems as well, delivering this agility and innovation. Which brings me on to rule number 2. So rule number 1 is listening. Rule number 2 is to interact with your customers in a very different way, an innovative way. So here's a use case I want to just describe it momentarily. So a high-profile consumer electronics brand invented a translucent LCD device, which had limited use in the home environment. So we work with them to use this in the retail environment, to display them on top of fridge units as you work through the aisle, providing the perfect backdrop with the natural light, providing contextual information about the actual contents within the freezer unit as you go through the retail environment. So transforming the once cluttered, foggy freezer units in the retail environment to a very much interactive, sort of modern sort of level of interaction and engagement, providing nutritional information and those sorts of things as the shopper goes through the retail aisles. And of course, we are continually evolving with interaction as well. So we started obviously from the way we've integrated with laptops and mobile devices, but now we have the dominance, or the first view of augmented reality and virtual reality. Obviously comes from its home of the gaming industry, but now it's very much coming into the work environment. So Google Glass, for example, being a very good example of this, and actually used in the work environments as well to help support service engineers with actually how to fix products and things and pipe works in quite dangerous places, can actually help them repair quite machinery and things like that in the work environment. So we can also see an explosion of the way that the content is being consumed as well, the way that we're engaging. So the engagement model has shifted, we know this, it's not necessarily new information, but the way that people are engaging, they're researching on the internet before they buy. 90% research is done obviously on the internet. We know that mobile devices is dominant, it's pervasive, it's everywhere. And also that we can also see that people will want to be reliant on videos and research before they actually make a commitment as well. Okay. So rule number 3 is let's get physical. So physical devices have been around for some time, so the Fitbits, the Garmins, the Apple Watches, those sorts of products and devices. They're also becoming much more prevalent in the hotel and leisure industry as well. So a high-profile leisure and hotel provider has a wearable device that can be used for not only getting into your room in the hotel, but also can be used in an immersive environment as you go around the actual theme park itself as well. And you can physically then see where those individuals have been, track them around the actual park, as well as can be used to be purchasing goods, collect their photos out of the log flume, etc., those sorts of things. The point around this is that the emergence of these physical devices are also enabling us to gain much more insight into the behaviour patterns of individuals as well. So we also know that there is absolutely an explosion of data as well. So the Internet of Things is going to be massive. It's information from Morales. By 2020, as you can see, there's going to be an absolute explosion of connected people, all the way through to the mass and sheer volumes of 50 trillion gigabytes of data as well. So moving on to this is that we're now within the 4th Industry 4.0. So we've seen we're now in the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd through, as we can see here. We're now on the 4th Industrial Revolution with connected physical systems communicating to each other. Everyone's seen the Terminator film, I'm sure. they get too freaked out that that's what's happening. And in fact, I don't know whether everyone saw the recent situation where on Facebook, I think the two machines were communicating with each other, and they started to invent their own language, allegedly. They switched them off very quickly. So the point around this is that connected devices talk to each other, will allow us to streamline supply chain and therefore to achieve delight for customers. So the Internet of Things is also available in available for children and child's play. So I've got two young boys, aged 9 and 10. Apart from fighting with each other a lot and playing football and all those sorts of good things that children should do, I bought them this gift from Sam Labs. And essentially they're small devices about this sort of big, and they are receptors to change the environment, be it light, movement, sound, whatever it might be. So they're wireless, so Bluetooth enabled. And you can connect these to a laptop or mobile device, and you can program the response to the event happening in a user interface sort of way. So if the sensor picks up there's a light switch being changed, it will ping an event, which you can then program the following event that then happens. Be it send a text message, raise an alarm, do whatever you want. So my brothers had great fun setting up burglar alarms in each other's rooms and things like that. All sorts of fun, getting text messages quite a lot. So alert, Joshua's entered Lewis's room and things like this. Lots of hours and hours of fun. But in its rudimentary form, the point being that this technology is also becoming pervasive for child's toys as well. And if you've got a spare good Christmas present, those you want to encourage children to get into programming and things like that. So the fourth rule is then personalised. So when we've understood the needs and wants, my example of being the single business person travelling versus the extended family, we can then engage with them in a much more personal basis. So taking back to the first rule about listening, we can then engage with them in a much more personal experience and cross-channel, be it within the mobile devices, contact centre, the web experience, whatever it might be. So rule number 5 is no keyboard. So I don't know if anyone's heard of Alexa or the Google solutions of Alexa, Echo or provided by Amazon. It's a fantastic bit of kit. We bought one recently. Again, there's only so many jokes you can hear when your child tells me a joke. Alexa gets a bit tiresome after a while. But you can literally, if it's linked seamlessly to the internet, you can ask it, and also if you have a connected smart home, you can request it to switch the lights on, request to add certain things for recipes, do your shopping list, and all those sorts of things. It's quite a low-cost entry mechanism to engage students with the internet. It's just a really good example, voice-activated internet-enabled solution. So we've taken this core bit of innovation a step further forward. We've integrated it with an SAP-based environment, taking this into the enterprise. So I've got a short video that I can take through an example. It shows Amazon Alexa device with a screen. The screen is only there to show that it's not hardwired. It is actually reading data from SAP to do with production orders and those sorts of things. Quick 30-second clip. I'll just take you through now.
Alexa, open machines.
Welcome to the machines world. What would you like to know?
What is the status of machines?
No issues have been reported today.
Tell me about machine 1.
Machine 1 is running at 4,812.5 revolutions per minute. There have been 0 issues reported today.
What is the work order status of Engineer 1?
Brown Baby has 37 work orders in release status, 13 orders technically completed, and 193 orders closed.
What is the forecast of machines?
Based on historical data, Machine 2 needs to lift it for replacement due to increasing wear-out failure rate.
Alexa, stop.
Goodbye.
Okay, so it's a quite neat innovation that we've developed. As I said, you can obviously see what it's doing largely, but sort of the opportunities here are quite incredible, really. And communicators corresponding with the machine is responding to voice commands, reading data from the back end SAP environment, hosted on the cloud as well. So another bit of no keyboard. Here's a bit of innovation that Capgemini has also provided called the connected bag. So the concept around this, and it is a concept, is that you're provided with a bag in your retailing environment as you enter the shop. You go around literally just pick up products that you would like to be buying. You also have to scan it in with your mobile device to provide your credit card information and literally walk out the shop. It's as simple as that. It's pretty much frictionless. That, of course, there's lots of security considerations as a result of that. Understand that. That's why it's a concept that we're working with retailers at the moment. But it eliminates all of that hassle and hustle-bustle of the retailing experience, no queues and those sorts of things. And it might encourage actually sort of different behaviours. If it's as easy as putting stuff in your bag and then off you go, it might encourage additional goods to be bought and things like that. So here's another example of no keyboard. So in Korea, one of the high street retailers was struggling to engage with their customers in a slightly different way. So one of the big hyper brands that's also present in the UK. So we developed this board with QR codes that, available for people travelling home. So literally, if they spotted something that they're short of, whatever it could be, food, box of cereals, etc., they could just literally QR code scan it, off it goes, makes the order, and then it's available. So it's also on tubes and things like that. We also have these cool little buttons. So they're deposited around the home, your dog food, your Duff beer, your ice cream, your M&Ms or whatever it is. Literally press the button, it will raise an order via Amazon to replenish those goods or services. Just be careful not to keep it in the place of 9 and 10-year-olds, unless you want 100 cans of dog food. But there is a self-faced mechanism behind that in case that happens. We also have the emergence of bots, so we have all these different examples of the concierge bots, food order bot. So it's essentially a bit of artificial intelligence. Products like Facebook Messenger, a product called Core also provides this sort of capability. So it's essentially responding to sort of textual information or language information in an intelligent way. So Doctor Advisor bot, obviously, if you've got concerns with health and those sorts of things. We also understand there's a relationship bot, if that's what you want to do. Have a relationship with a computer. Anyway, there you go. We've also taken this a step further forward from a Capgemini perspective. We've integrated artificial intelligence also with SAP, using Quartz with a K, K-O-R-E, to raise service tickets and service complaints and those sorts of things. So I've talked a lot about business to consumer centricity. It's also very relevant in the business to business space as well. So when I say responsive technologies, it means that all of the user interface needs to work across platform devices, mobile devices, and those sorts of things. It's quite important that you have seamless integration with back office stock systems, provide real-time stock information available to promise and those sorts of things. Search capability must be easy and intuitive to use. It needs to be contextual, relevant, and personalised content. It's very much the same in the business to consumer space as well. So here is an approach in which we can help support going on this journey. So we'll help to achieve consumer centricity with helping shape strategic development through to solution design. The minimal viable product, as I say, is essential. Get something deployed at a quick pace before we then scale up as well, underpinned by our innovation and technology. We also have this approach. So we've invested and brought to market what we call SAP Fast Digital 4. So it's across industry. It's a suite of over 200 use cases relevant to your industry and sector. And we can take you through this process in a risk-free environment using our applied innovation exchange facilities. We have 12 of them globally. So that we can start with this digital day to innovate and show the latest opportunities that you might have and use cases and things like that that's prevalent in the market, all the way through to deploying a proof of concept, minimal viable product before we scale up. So this sort of thing, cradle to grave, we can deploy something very quickly in about 6 weeks. So we've done this successfully across North America, and it's been released in the month of August into the UK. So just to summarise, so here's the 5 rules. So I've talked about listening a lot to what your customers are saying, making sense of that fragmented data and data silos and those sorts of things. I've talked about different modern ways of interacting with your customers. I gave the example of the in the retail environment with the fridges, making that very innovative way of interaction with your customers. The physical devices and Internet of Things, discussed a bit about wearables, and leveraging the Internet of Things and machines talking machines and those sorts of things. Personalisation is absolutely essential. So you need to make it meaningful, contextual, next best action type approach to delivering that level of engagement. And no keyboard gives some good examples around the Amazon Echo product, as well as the connected bag, the dash buttons, and those sorts of things. All technology that's available to us now. Okay, so I'm open for any questions.
Where does one of the big challenges that I see to overcome is the getting over the user experience. It was quite interesting. I quite like the no keyboard, no human touches. I can't disagree with points 1 to 4. But more and more, it seems that our punters, our users, are becoming more aware of the power they have in terms of getting the product that they want versus what's right for the organisation.
Yep.
In terms of pulling up the user experience card. I'm just wondering, how do you overcome that?
To provide a user experience to promote what we might want them to be buying or change their behaviour.
So it's not so much from a customer's point of view, it's from a user's point of view, so
yeah.
people who consume it.
Yeah.
It seems when I'm talking to the users or the consumers, and not necessarily the customer, they seem to play this card out, but the user experience isn't quite right on this one.
Yeah.
I really like this product over here, that's just the user experience.
Yes.
It might do everything that needs to happen. But I've seen that more and more of a challenge for the last 2 years than what I've previously seen.
Yeah, everything seems to center exactly around that.
Yeah.
That's either customer experience or user experience. And because of that, we as Capgemini, we've changed our whole delivery approach as a result, where that user-centered design is absolutely heart of what we need to then build around. Because it's got to be intuitive to use and engage with and those sorts of things.
Yeah.
So you're absolutely right. We're absolutely all over it.
Okay. I don't have a single bullet for an island. It's just hard work.
Thank you, folks. So we are going to have to leave it there, obviously, for time. But if you'd like to give Nathan a big round of applause.